Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at some entitled parents. Gotta love them, ain't ya? Oh, I see many of them when I do the school run. I don't like to interact with a lot of them because honestly, you get in with them, you start interacting with them, more fool you. You're then part of their gossip clique. They all hate each other and pretend to be each other's friends. It's weird, I don't get it. So yeah, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay then, first post. My aunt asked me to give my graduation money to her son. Family helps family. Oh dear. This just happened last year. I graduated from UNLV. I assume they meant to say they had a party, because otherwise this sentence makes no sense. Nothing huge, just a small backyard thing with some friends and family. I got like $500 total in cards from people, some cash, couple gift cards, super appreciated. Next day, my aunt, my mum's sister, calls me and goes, "So you're going to share some of that money with Jordan?" Jordan's her 20-year-old son, who dropped out of college last year and hasn't really been doing much. I laughed at first, thought she was messing around. She was dead serious. She said something like, "You know he's been struggling and you're lucky to graduate. It'd be nice if you passed some of that along. Luck doesn't have anything to do with it, you old hag. It would be the work that OP put in, but okay." I told her no, it was a gift for me. She got weird and said I was acting brand new and hung up. What does that mean? I don't think that's something we use here. I don't know what it is. Someone enlighten me. Then told my mum I was selfish. My mum just said, "Then maybe your kid should graduate first." Whole thing was so weird, lol. Haven't heard from Jordan either. And then down in the comments, sparkly garbagey says, "Your aunt can share her money with him if she feels that way. You're not responsible for helping a 20-year-old who's more than capable of getting a job. Also, shout out to your mum for her response." Like, seriously, literally. And then the OP replies, "Right, at 20, he should be out there learning how to adult, not asking for handouts from my graduation money." And then Bambi H says, "Also, lucky to graduate. That would have boiled my blood. Congratulations on your achievement. And ignore your weird aunt." Yeah, literally. And then Esther Clemens says, "Yeah, I saw that and thought, if I was OP's mum, I'd reply to entitled on, 'I'm about to lucky my foot up your butt.'" Yeah, seriously, that is so rude. Like, lucky? No, it is the work that I put in. Actually, thank you very much. Next post, had my turn at the "you're too old for that, give it to my kid" today. So I was doing some grocery shopping at my local Aldi today, and I was wearing my hat that has Pokemon patches on it. It's just a black cap with 3 patches, a Psyduck, a Magikarp, and a Gyarados. 3 Pokemon that I feel don't get enough love, bless them. Got to the checkout and there was this woman there with her 2 kids. The kids were misbehaving, classic, and she was yelling at them. I mean, that's at least something. At least she was trying to tell her kids off. Normally they just watch them terrorize the shop and do nothing. That's when the boy saw my hat and said, "Mum, I like her hat." Next thing I know, the woman is telling me to give my hat to her kid because I am too old for it. She even tried to reach over and yank it off my head. That's when I would have got fisticuffs out, mate. Touch me, I will react. I do bite. I told her to go away and that I didn't have to give my hat to her or her kid, and stuffed it up under the jumper I was wearing. Checked out and left. Anywho, it's not much, but that's my encounter with an entitled parent. How odd. Like, how odd of behaviour is that to just say things like that? But the thing is, clearly it happens because I've seen so many stories over the years that sound very similar, with a parent being like, "You're too old for that," or, "Oh, you can buy another one." I'm sure I saw one where it was like someone with a Game Boy or something, and the parent was like, "You can buy another one. Oh yeah, let me just go and buy another 100 and odd pounds friggin' console." Like, nah. Get stood on. And then down in the comments, Intelligent Shine 54 said, "I would love it if someone would yell out, 'This woman is attempting to mug me. Call the police. I need help. She's trying to rob me.'" Oh, that would be so funny. That would be so funny. I think it might slap the Karen out of that woman real quick if it suddenly dawned on her that what she is doing is not only rude, but a felony. I fear it wouldn't actually register, to be fair, because they think that what they're doing, there's now wrong with it. They've been brought up like that. Generations of just entitled Karens. And then Curatan says, nah, it won't do anything. She might retreat from that encounter, but guarantee she will do it again another day. They are incapable of learning. Honestly, yeah, their brains aren't that developed, unfortunately. And then Jay Booksy says, if the store had security, it might alert them though and get her nice and embarrassed. I mean, you'd think so, but these people double down when they're in the wrong. Next post, my family disowned me 15 years ago. Complete no contact. Now, all at once, they want back in my life and are stalking me. I finally confronted them. How odd. Disclaimer, part of this is from a post on Am I the Butthole that was removed, then added to the events of today. I don't know if this goes here, I just needed to get it out. I confronted them today and I can't stop crying or shaking. I don't know why, I don't know what's wrong with me right now. I'm finally calming down a little to get this done. So, I, 36 male, got into some trouble 15 years ago. I take all responsibility for this, and even to this day, I carry all the shame, guilt, and embarrassment for it. Also, this might come up. This is not cultural or religion, it's just shame to the family name. Okay, what did you do to get treated this severely? It must be something real out there. Oh, okay, so we're going to find out. The situation was when I was 19, my ID was stolen and being used in another state and created a situation where my driver's license was suspended nationwide. Somehow, any and all notifications from the other state never made it to me. I started doing all necessary things I needed to do to try to fix the problem. I, however, had a couple of tickets in my current state that I needed to pay, but couldn't because I needed to pay my rent and keep my apartment. Also, at the time, my full-time job was having problems and was borderline shutting down. So to try to make ends meet, I was doing a lot of freelance work as well. Again, my fault. I knew the company was in trouble, but I was still holding out hope that things would get better. I mean, fair, sometimes it can be really tricky to find new jobs. I was hoping that a couple more freelance jobs and I would be able to finally pay the tickets. This was never the case, and the long story short of it was I was arrested and spent 2 weeks in jail. Not ideal, but I guess in the long run it worked out for the best by clearing the tickets in my home state. However, my family felt otherwise, and I was completely disowned because of this. Over some tickets? Like driving tickets? And I hear that that's a thing. I'm assuming this is in the US because I've heard that they will literally chuck you in jail for tickets, which I think is abhorrent and ridiculous. But it's not like you actually committed a awful crime. Like, I'm assuming they're like parking tickets or something, or maybe you were speeding a little bit. And yeah, okay, it's not good, but everyone has done it at some point. I lost everything and everyone. The only reason I still had my apartment was because I had enough to cover the rent and the freelance work kept up. It took another 6 months, but I was finally able to get another state to release my driver's license. I decided that since my family hated me, I didn't need them. So a year later, I changed my last name, phone number, and email. My social media is locked down so tight you would think I was hiding national security secrets. Seriously, what little social media presence I have is also the same. I was able to finish college and get settled into my new career, and at this point, I'm happier than I ever have been. Imagine disowning your kid and your family for driving fines. Imagine. Like, what? Unless they did something real abhorrent, like drunk driving. And in that case, I would assume that their driver's license would not be released to them and they would have spent more than just 2 weeks in jail. Enter current time, and 2 weeks ago there was a knock on my door and it was my mum and dad. Again, it had been 15 years and I hadn't spoken to them, not one word. And the only thing I could get out of my mouth was, "How did you find me? And what are you doing here?" My mum's response was, $5,000 to a PI. Finally, a search of Facebook with just your name found you and the PI confirmed it was you. Why though? I responded, "You didn't answer my question. What are you doing here?" My mum again, "It's been 15 years. Looking at where you're at, it seems you have learnt your lesson and you are succeeding. You've missed out on a lot of things. Because of you, you giant twat. Like, what? I ended with, yes, I have learned my lesson. One of them is I don't think anyone will ever help you or be understanding, even your family. And yes, I did succeed, and I did it entirely without you. Please leave and don't ever come back. Shut the door in their face, locked it, checked the back door and closed all the curtains. I'm guessing they hung around for another 15 minutes knocking, demanding to be let in. I went back to bed, turned the fan on high and went back to sleep. Don't blame you whatsoever. How dare they just turn up like that? Honestly, it's almost like people started asking questions, and then when they're answering and saying, oh yeah, we had to abandon our child because they got parking tickets, people started giving them the side eye and, oh, they didn't want to be seen like the bad people, so they had to get back in touch. I did some research, and I have missed out on a lot. I have nieces and nephews, brothers and sister-in-laws, but the truth is, I don't know any of them, and I don't think I need to. I live a very quiet life. I can count on two hands how many friends I actually have. A friend said I may have taken it too far, that I should have given them a chance, and if I didn't like what they had to say, then I could have told them to go away. I was hoping that this was going to be the end of it, but no, they have taken to stalking me. Of course they have. I'll be completely honest, they are harmless, but just a real pain in the backside. And also, I have been effing with them and having some fun with the help of friends. He now calls them fleas and will check on me asking if I have fleas or not. That's great. It's kind of funny, and if I say yes, then it's game on. The first night, he came over and we walked downtown to a really expensive restaurant that I knew they were never going to go to. Another night, we went to the corn store. That was the best one. This past week, the way my days off fell, I've had a 5-day stretch, so I decided to go to the city for a few days. I'm walking distance to the Amtrak station, then they followed me. I kept my AirPods in the whole time, and I know they were trying to talk to me, but I ignored them the entire time. People on the platform even were telling me that they were talking to me, and I said that I know, but I don't want to deal with them. The train came, I got on, and left them to watch. I loved it. It got to the point I finally had to acknowledge them. They weren't going to go away, so we met at the park across from my apartment. I didn't hold anything back. I told them that this was one and only time I was going to talk to them. I took a page from the Matlock series and told them that I was their jury. Thank you, Olympia Lawrence. I then told them that as far as I was concerned, they were guilty of anything and everything, and all I was doing was hearing what they had to say before I walked away from them. I asked them why now, after 15 years, they are demanding to be back in my life, and why they made the decisions they did to disown me. They told me that I ruined the family name, and that the shame brought to the family was horrible, and that this was the only way to make it right was to get rid of me. Wow. They said that recently my name has been coming up in conversation and that the family has grown with a lot of new people, that brother and sister-in-law are asking questions about who is Brinley, that I have a niece who they think I would love and get along with, and same for a nephew who was born last year and now should be the time to fix things. They said that looking at my apartment and the life I had, that I must have learned my lesson about being a better person and managing my life better. These people are awful. Absolutely awful. I finally cut them off and told them that I couldn't stand to hear anymore. I was at the point I could hear my heart beating in my ears. I told them that I did everything completely by myself. Nobody from that life exists anymore, not one person. That they just need to tell everyone the truth, that I was in jail for 2 weeks, and because of this, the decision was made to get rid of me. I told them that I did it all on my own, and that my one cousin Jean, who is only a cousin by marriage, was the one who was there for me, hence why I took her last name. I told them that to this day I'm doing everything on my own and I rely on nobody and don't need or want them in any way of my life. They made their decision and I'm making mine. I told them that this will be the last time we talk and that I would be going to see a lawyer to see if there was anything that could be done to keep them away from me, and that if they continue to follow me around or show up at my apartment, I would have them arrested for trespassing. And I went back home and again locked everything down, pulled the curtains, and have been crying since. Yeah, I bet that was a big release of like emotion as well, because I bet you've been dying to tell them how crappy they were for so long, and getting to do it would almost be overwhelming. So then down in the comments, this daydreamer says they disowned you over a couple of traffic tickets. The real damage to any honour they have is that they didn't help out their son when he was afraid and in financial trouble. I'm willing to bet that they want money from you now that you're living a good life. Yeah, either that or like I said, I think it's like people are questioning, well, why is this one person in your family not involved? And then people are side-eyeing them for disowning their kid over something so silly. And then Kay Howard Holt says, for real, I kept reading through thinking, wait, there's got to be something more. This family disowned their child over a couple of effing traffic tickets. What the actual F? Dude, you did nothing wrong. Stop taking the blame for any of those and please get it out of your head that you shame the family name. The only people who should be ashamed is them, and quite frankly, if that's the type of family they want to be, I'm thinking there's much more there in the first place. Traffic tickets, unreal. Literally, I would never abandon my kids over traffic violations. And be annoyed at them, yes. Read them the riot act, yes. Abandon them? No! I would help them figure it out and figure out how to not let it happen again. I don't get this. And then the OP replies, my cousin Jean came over the other day. I'm not sure what was going through her head, but she just showed up with wine, pizza, and cheesecake. God, I love that woman. I was really struggling with all of this, and she could tell. She finally sat me down and told me what a lot of other people have told me. None of this was actually my fault. I hit the perfect storm and it went into a hurricane. She revealed a lot of family secrets that she felt I needed to know, which really made me look at my parents in a different and truly negative way. That could maybe be a separate updated post. Please, please tell us. I want to know. Okay, last post, and a trigger warning, and I'm not sure in what way, but just horrible kind of emotional abuse, I'd say. She called me a killer, now she's out. This story is truly cruel. The closest person to me in the whole world is my grandmother. She was the one who saved me when my mother was abusing me. When my mother threw me out between the ages of 13 and 16, I knew I could take a taxi in the middle of the night and go to my grandma's. She would come downstairs at any hour, pay the fare, and take me in for the night. When I wanted to hurt myself, I either went to grandma's or called her. And this grandma, astonishingly, is my mother's mother. Honestly, sometimes you could do your absolute best and your kids can still turn out as absolute shites. I've met a few people where their parents are amazing and then they are just awful people, and it's like, wow. And she is fully painfully aware that her daughter is a monster and not a human being. She knows exactly how much harm my mother has caused me. My grandma had like a full collapse. She was barely breathing and her heart was barely responding. She was rushed to the hospital and completely unconscious. My mother was screaming in hysterics. I cried my eyes out every night. The doctors gave her no chance. After 3 months of unconsciousness, they asked us, the family, to consider taking her off life support and to let her go. By then, I hadn't spoken to my mother in years, but in that situation, of course, we started talking again. I loved my grandma 100 times more than my mother. She meant the world to me, but I also knew she would never want to just exist, as she used to say, like a vegetable. She was a strong, amazing woman who always wanted to stay independent, so I told my mother, she's still alive now, she's still breathing, let's hold on to that. But if she were to go to hospice, I don't think we should prolong her life by force. And at that moment, my mother's tone changed. Ha! Got you! I knew it! I knew you always wanted to off her! I recorded this! Ha ha ha, you idiot! You totally fell for it! Stupid bee! Now the entire inheritance will go to me! That sounds like a villain arc rant now, doesn't it? Like something straight out of a real crap film. I hung up. 2 days later, my grandma regained consciousness. It took her almost 6 months to fully recover her strength and mobility, but she did it. She's been doing well ever since. It's been 6 years now, and she's fine. Oh, wow. So she really pulled through besides the odds. My mother has visited her many times, playing the recording over and over again. She keeps repeating, that beloved granddaughter of yours wanted to off you. But Grandma always replies, oh, F off. I wouldn't want to spend the rest of my life on a ventilator either. She was right. You tell her, Grandma. Then, after some time, grandmother wrote an updated will, one that can't be challenged, one that completely disinherits my mother, and it's signed by several lawyers and psychologists. Good move, good move. My grandma is doing well. I love her more than anyone in the world. And my mother, who would have inherited something by legal succession if she acted like a human being, will now get nothing. F you. I mean, yeah, F around and find out. And I bet you any money that even if she'd had that stupid recording, it wouldn't have made a difference, because it's not like OP was like, oh yeah, I can't, let's do her in. Let's just let her go. She was like, I don't think she'd want to be in a vegetated state, so I don't think we should let her continue on if that happens. Which is a very honest conversation to have, and a hard conversation to have, but also a very reasonable one. Anyway, down in the comments, Cheshire Cat 46 says, time to get a restraining order on Psycho Mum. She sounds seriously off her trolley. She does indeed. OP, I will wait for now, till my grandma is okay. I don't want to push it. She is sad that her own child is acting so crazy. The fact that she had to change her will was difficult enough for her. Yeah, I bet. And then Snoowords4839 says, ask grandmum to make you her POA and have her write out her wishes in case she is on machines again. Good point, good point. And then OP says, POA, what does it mean? Just FYI, I'm from Europe. Maybe we have different names for the same thing. So obviously POA is power of attorney. We have that here in the UK too. Just basically gives you the power to be able to make medical decisions on someone's behalf, financial decisions on someone's behalf if they are unable to do it for themselves. Usually something that is arranged prior to somebody falling ill, or when somebody has fallen ill, but at the point where they are still cognitively able to make those decisions for themselves. And it's a good thing to have, because then it stops people like the mum from letting this poor lady sit on life support in a vegetative state, which is a very hard word to say, by the way, when that's not something that she would ever want. So yeah, and her mum would do that out of spite as well. You just know she would. So yeah, definitely something that's very good to have. Okay, so that would be it for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. These entitled parents are nothing if not infuriating. But hey, it does make for some good entertainment when they get their comeuppance now, doesn't it? I do love that. I think that's the only thing that keeps me around for these kind of stories, you know? Anyway, down in the comments of one of our own videos, Julia Hope says, making my lunch better one video at a time. Do you know what? You're very welcome. Thank you very much for watching. If you pop a little like and subscribe, I'd appreciate you even more, of course. Other than that, I hope you have a really good rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. Goodbye.